From this angle, you look like, what's his name? From the Avengers. Hawkeye. What's his name?
Jeremy Renner.
Jeremy Renner. Got a Jeremy Renner look about you.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing I've had.
No, that's a good preamble to the start of a podcast, that is. Right, yeah. So, I guess we should probably start this thing. Hello there, it's just me, your old buddy Grizzly Jim, and I am back with another episode of our new podcast. And this time I have a very good friend of mine in the studio. You may know him. It's Chris Horan. You've been around the block a bit. I don't mean like you've been around the block.
I've done a few laps.
You've done a few laps. You've been involved in archery since, what, the 90s? Late 90s?
Yeah, late 90s. 97, 98, that sort of time.
So you've been around the block, but you know what's what. But you've got a unique perspective when it comes to sort of working in the world of archery. You do a lot of work for various brands and things. So and that's the main thing I wanted to talk to you about today. Obviously, we'll drift and meander off into pastures unknown. But yeah, like first, let's get to know you a little bit. I know you, but you guys at home don't necessarily know you. So yeah, let's talk about you. What's your archery journey? How did you get into this city game?
So yeah, I started in the mid 90s. All stemmed from, as probably many people did, have a go at a school or a scout group. Got the bug for it there. Joined a local club. And yeah, kind of went down that path and down that route. And then it was just a few kind of probably key moments at key times. I helped out at a big international event that was held in the UK, one of the Archery World Cups in 2007. It's 2007, scarily long ago now.
Yeah. And
that kind of opened my eyes up a little bit to meeting people that work at events, deal with events, meeting people that kind of compete at that higher level, did the national tours and the circuits back in the day and bits like that, which I'd never really been exposed to, just being a local archer down my local club. Yeah. Probably county and region stuff was the furthest I'd ever gone. And yeah, from that point there, that kind of probably set me on that journey of both competing at a little bit of a higher level and fortunate enough I've got lucky at various points and competed nationally and internationally, but then also started working at international events, both for World Archery and other organisations. My archery role at the moment, it's probably that blend of still competing, still working with brands, representing brands and partnering with brands where I can and assisting with event delivery at various different places.
Well, that's where I see you most these days, is at events and things. You're just a professional booth babe nowadays.
Professional booth babe. That's a little tagline when your name comes up on the screen.
That's what I'm going to put that on the screen now. Professional booth babe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've done my fair bit of boothing, and we always used to see each other at things like that. But you are a really good brand ambassador for whoever you're working with. You work with PSE a lot. You're a factory shooter for PSE. Merlin Ambassador, so you work with us quite a bit. Eastern Archery, You do some work with those. Who else have you been working with?
The ones you mentioned there, so probably as a bit of a rundown, PSE Archery, Merlin Archery, Eastern Archery, Triple XL, AAE Archery, Rainbow Strings, and you always worry you're going to miss one off, aren't you? Biter, Biter Archery, and probably more recently working a little bit with Maven Optics as well.
Okay, no, they're doing great things, babes. I see a lot.
AE, did I mention AE? AE and Feather Vision, which come under the same company, but two different brands within that company.
Yeah, but then I mean that's the goal of a lot of shooters out there. Kind of they want the notoriety, they want the sponsorship, they want the recognition. And I mean, how does that make you, like, when you're shooting, repping these brands? How does that make you feel? I mean, do you feel pressure to perform when you're kind of repping so many brands, or is it just it kind of inspires you to kind of get out there and do a bit more, like be?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, isn't it? Because that whole issue of sponsorship is kind of that thing where you feel a lot of people are chasing that dream or wanting that dream in relation to that. Whether you feel any pressure from it, for me, I suppose that kind of stems back to that relationship you have with that company and the path that relationship started on. What is your role with that company? If your role with that company is solely performance based, then yeah, for sure, I can imagine that there's a huge responsibility when you're going out there to compete. That is your purpose with that company, is to hit that podium, is to win that event, because that gives the marketing, the brand awareness from that. Mine's always been a little bit different than that. It's not solely based on actually the competing and the results side of it. It's what you can do as an ambassador. What can you do to promote that company?
And you do a brilliant job.
To get the word out about that company and to kind of raise awareness.
That's what I see you doing. I see you at competitions, I see you on podiums and things throughout the year, but I also see you kind of getting out there and talking to, and you are incredibly passionate about whatever it is that, like, last time I saw you was at the National Indoor. You was working on the Trueball Excel stand. Yeah. But you're just talking and you were just really passionate about it. And it's nice to see. And it's nice seeing you was working with Ben.
Ben Summers from Trueball, amazing guy. An amazing company, family-run company that have done so much for the sport. And I think it really goes under the radar, the amount, and it's not just Trueball Excel, there's other companies as well, but the amount those companies reinvest back into the archery community, back into archery events, and help support kind of the wider archery scene. It's absolutely incredible what they do. A
lot of people do that. That is going back to kind of people being focused on sponsorship and stuff. I've personally, from a slightly different side of thing, I've never really chased a sponsorship off anybody. I've had kind of deals with people and understandings, but I've never been sponsored by anyone. But then again, I've never wanted to be kind of limited to one thing. Yeah. My reach is a bit more sort of, I don't know, I like to be able to, the freedom. But do you feel, do you feel trapped with, not trap's not the right word.
No, I get it.
But do you feel beholden to do you feel like you're missing out on anything by sort of?
No would be the short answer. And I suppose, first and foremost, like the kit you use to compete with or just to shoot archery with, like it's got to be the right stuff for you. It should be something that you have confidence in, you're passionate about and stuff like that.
I think it works best if it's something you'd shoot or use anyway.
100%. And all the companies I work with and I represent fall solely into that category. It was products, if that relationship wasn't there with that company, it would still be the same stuff you'd see me out and about with at the next event, at the next archery competition.
I don't think it would work if you didn't, actually. I think I've been speaking to you on and off for years about various bits and bobs, but you're genuinely passionate about what it is that you rep. And it's nice to see you're not just going through the motions like, hey, you should shoot this because they pay me. It's the stuff that you shoot. I 100% believe that if you wasn't sort of working with that brand, you'd shoot them anyway. Because you've got that passion for what works for you. And I've heard you, I've had you in the studio a few times talking about various products and things. And it's nice to work with you because you are talking with passion about these things. And it's refreshing to see. And I've had Chris in today to do some recording for PSE at Eastern. And I could sit behind the desk and I could talk about the PSE, but I'd only be regurgitating information. I have an understanding of the bows, but not to the level that you do. So getting someone like you in to talk about a subject is so refreshing. And it means I can take a step back. I can concentrate on making the video rather than being in the video. So I can give it a bit of a tweak and a polish that way. But it's really nice watching you talk about the stuff that you use and like, well, not that you shoot the PSE lasers, but you know about the PSA, and you can talk about it from a perspective that I don't have, like the nuances of the product, the previous models and things, and the DNA of it. It's really nice to see, and it's really good having you as a brand ambassador for so many brands.
Yeah, for sure, and I mean, we can definitely go into the weeds around sponsorship and what's associated with that. But fundamentally, if you strip that all back, and any company that offers, whether it's archery, any other sport, whatever we're talking about, any company that offers sponsorship, whether that's at some form of a discount product, whatever it may be, payment, fundamentally that's coming out of that company's marketing budget. That's what it's all about. If you strip it all right back, it's all about increasing sales for that product.
It's got to be worth it for a company to sponsor. Sure. There's got to be a value coming back from sponsorship.
And surely the best way to have that is working with people that have that integrity, that loyalty, that passion for that brand, because you want the people that fully buy into that brand, fully understand that brand, fully are committed to that brand, because then they will have that level of authenticity when they are promoting, when they are talking to customers, when they are helping people out with it. That hopefully will just kind of shine through
Yeah.
and kind of show that passion for that brand.
Well, I'm pretty sure the last time you was in, you ended up talking to a customer. Like, Chris doesn't work in the shop. He's a Merlin ambassador, so you kind of around here doing stuff. But you was talking to someone about PSE. You was getting in there, showing, and it's lovely to see, because it's nice when someone has a passion that talks to you about something. It's
and I think from that you can strip that right back, and Ben, obviously here at Merlin, has done an incredible article on the Merlin website around sponsorship, and it's kind of tucked away a little bit on the Merlin website. But if anyone's thinking of approaching a company for sponsorship or support or a partnership, I'd highly recommend going and reading that, because fundamentally the way to approach it is, what can you do for that company? And that should be your opening thought, not what can this company do for me?
Yeah.
I've, as you mentioned, been in this game a little while. I kind of try and split my time now between, I compete a lot in the outdoor season. I'm out and about, of course, at events. I'm more than happy to talk to people, help with issues, discuss products and everything. The indoor scene isn't my game as much, so I try and give my time over the indoor season at the events to spend more time on the booths, helping companies, helping resolve issues if I can, give support, give advice, and promote those brands. And yeah, there's definitely been a trend where you get that regular person, or the regular type of person that will come up to the booth, and their opening line will be, what can you do for me?
Yeah.
I've just won this event, or I've just been ranked at this. What can you do for me?
Yeah. Give me my free stuff.
Fundamentally. And actually, is that all that person's after? Are they after some sort of discount? Are they after something for free? Are they after, as you mentioned at the start of this conversation, that kudos, that they just want that shirt that's got their name on it, or got that kind of staff shooter or something on the shirt? Is that kind of what the pinnacle is for them? That's what they want, rather than actually, how are they going to help support this company? How are they going to help this company drive sales? What's their, without using the buzzwords that are out there, what's the return on investment? What's the ROI they're going to get from that person? And equally, what sphere of influence does that person have? So actually, if this company supports that person, they may not be a national, international shooter, but actually in their area, in their community, what potential have they got really to kind of promote and drive the sales of that brand within that kind of niche market that they're in? Yeah,
no, there's a lot to it. It's not just, hey, I'm doing good at archery, you should give me some free stuff. There's a lot more to it, because it is an industry, the archery industry, and it does need people out there being an ambassador for whatever product or brand there is. But at the end of the day, there has to be a thing. You can't just give people stuff for the sake of it. There needs to be, and that's the truth of it. There needs to be something coming back to make it worth its while. Because if there's nobody out there promoting it, there is no industry. So with no industry, there wouldn't be any archery companies. So there is. It's such an important role, I think, sort of being out there and having the right people, and I think passion is something you can't teach somebody passion. I think
you've got to believe in it. You've got to believe in that product you're working with. You've got to kind of line up the values of that company that you're working with. And as you probably noticed through this conversation, you've mentioned Merlin Ambassadors team, and I've said a few times, being an ambassador, being a brand ambassador, partnering with a company, and I think that is like the mindset people should have in this world if that's what they're looking to do or hoping to do. We've had this discussion before. We've both heard the term pro staff or factory staff thrown around quite a lot over the years and stuff. And that term pro staff, yes, for the top level people that are out there, which does not include me, just to be very clear, that top level of international competitive archers, yes, that does stand for professional archer or professional staff. That is a pro staff archer. They are out there earning their trade. Their living is shooting a bow, winning things, podium, contingency, and all sorts of that. So yes, that is your pro staff. But pretty much when you step down from that next level down, everyone else that kind of falls under that umbrella, if a company is using the pro staff term, they're promotional staff. Yeah. They are an ambassador for that company. Yeah. It's all about what can they do. If that company invests in that person, ultimately, what is that company going to get back that helps move the needle and kind of like, fundamentally drive sales and promote the brand and awareness around that company.
I find it's symbiotic as well, because there's somebody out there who's talking with passion about a brand or a product. But then again, I from my side of the fence, sort of on the kind of media side, I like to then promote those people and make content about those people. So there is give and take. There is a symbiosis. Hey, that calendar they got me is working out. The word of the day calendar is working. But yeah, I think it's great to sort of be able to promote people as well as having something promoted by people. It's a nice kind of circular kind of thing, and it is good to see. Like I say, you've been around the block a bit, you've been shooting a bit. So you shoot for PSE. So what do you shoot? What's your go-to bow at the moment?
At the moment, it kind of flicks between the Dominator Duo X, which is the current kind of, well, they've got two flagship bows at the moment. So the Duo X and the Super X.
Yeah.
Both incredibly great bows. Both will work equally as well as each other. It's very much whether I set one up for one particular game or the other game and stuff like that. But yeah, they're kind of the two.
What are you into at the moment? What's your, like, if I was to say to you, right, grab your bow, we're going out. What are we doing? We do target, we're doing field, 3D?
Field archery is by far the most fun you can have with a bow and arrow. Period. End of conversation. It's literally like, I've shot field for a very long time, shot a lot of target, and then we're now at a point where maybe that target's taking a massive step back for field and 3D. And there's a few reasons for that. I enjoy it more. Fundamentally, I enjoy it more. I think it's just more of a community, more of an atmosphere. I mean, I've used the example before that you could go to a target shoot, and I used to love shooting target shoots. Did everything nationally for a very long time. And yeah, you'd shoot a target shoot with kind of 4 people on your target, and you'd have a lovely day, and you'd know the people you've shot with.
Yeah.
But I think if you go out on a field course for a day in a group of 4 people around those 24, 28 targets, you've got the little tea breaks on the way round, and potentially if you do that for an entire weekend, I think you genuinely know the people in your group by the end of that. There's definitely a bit more of a kind of personal feel to it, and I thrive for stuff like that.
I do like feel. I'm not. If I had to categorize myself, I'm a 3D archer. Yeah, and they share some of the same qualities and things. But I have done a few field shoots, and it's a different vibe, a very different crowd to the target, even though it's potentially the same people
and a huge crossover. Yeah, massive crossover between the two communities.
Completely different vibe on field. It's it's really good to get being outside, usually in the woods. A bit more. I mean, as lovely as target archery is.
Yeah, it's just. I think we're both outdoors people, aren't we? And being in that environment, in the woods, out and about, just like rather than just on a set playing field.
Yeah, I've done it all. I've done target, done 3D, done field, and I don't know. There's not as much to hold my attention in target archery. It's just repetitive, and that's the name of the game. Yeah. But when you're out doing field, there's something nice about going for a little bit of a wander. But everyone I've spoke to on this podcast thus far has always vastly preferred field to target.
It's both have their own place in our archery world, and they complement each other massively. If you want to nail down your shooting technique, form, everything, target, repetition, absolutely, that will get you probably shooting to the best you can be, because it is that repetition, like you say. It's that same place, standing on that same line, that target, and just trying to drill the middle, arrow after arrow. But then like field, I always think field's a bit more of a thinking person's game as well, and 3D as well. Anything where you've potentially got the distance isn't always known to you. Sometimes you've got to find a way of figuring that out. Then on top of that, you've got different terrain, slopes, cross slopes, all those kind of elevations, anything like that. But on top of actually doing all of that, and then once you've kind of worked out you're doing all that, standing there and making a half decent shot at the end of it, I just think, it's
we had Ollie Hicks in the other day off the back of Lancaster, and he loves field. He did a nice thing about field, and he was talking about the puzzle of it. Sort of, you're at a distance, an unknown distance, and you're looking at the target. You're trying to work out what target it is, and then trying to work out the distance, and that really appealed to the kind of the mathematical brain that he has, and he loved that kind of the puzzle element to it. I'm an idiot. I just that'll do and try and get it. But yeah, there's always it's nice when you can flex a different archery muscle. Yeah, I think, and try something a little bit different. Obviously, you're a busy man in the world of archery. What you got coming up this year? What's the focus for you this year?
It's not overly planned out yet. It'll probably be a lot of field events, a lot of 3D events throughout the year. Yeah, and then some other bits that are kind of in the background as well. I work quite closely with Archery GB at the moment on a field and 3D working group we've got going to try and improve participation and kind of bits around that and stuff like that.
But that's something that everyone who's involved in field or 3D, they're all on the same page. They all really want to promote it and get it bigger and make more of a thing of it.
Yeah.
So that's
and 3D, not just like World Archery 3D and AGB, but the other 3D games that are out there and the other organisations, they're all on a massive upwards curve at the moment. It seems to be 3D seems to be like the most fun game out there.
Well, I think
from a participation, from a numbers point of view, and
I'd agree. And shooting 3D targets really focuses you. I had someone in the other day who was doing a little bit of shooting. He said, "Oh, can I shoot with you?" Yeah, no problem. So he was just shooting at one of the round target faces, and he was peppering it. But I thought, I sod this. So we took that off and slid a 3D out.
Yeah.
And groups went from this to this instantly. We've got 3D vision. We're humans. That's how we see. And I think shooting at something 3D really focuses you, really brings you in, really dials you in. But yeah, no, I need to do some more 3D actually. The trouble is, most field and 3D events, unless you're in the NFAS or something, which is one of the other organizations, is if they're 2-day events.
Yeah.
And it's really, I got 2 kids. It's really, no, 2 kids? I got 3 kids. It's really difficult to get away for a whole weekend. Unless I take them with me, but they don't want to know. My kids don't want to.
No, I get that. And some of the competition formats do look at 1-day entries and stuff like that. So yeah, I think making our game a bit more accessible is something that needs to happen and stuff. When you mention what other things have I got going on, I'm a self-confessed archery geek, as you probably
have noticed,
and stuff like that. So yeah, and I've definitely been on that journey where for a long time, probably as most of us, it was quite kind of self-centered. My own shooting, my own competing was my main priority. And now, as I mentioned before, that's kind of a blend now between actually, I'll keep that going and I'll try and do that as much as I can, but we're all getting a bit older and these youngsters that are coming through are getting better and better every generation that comes past. It's absolutely insane.
Records are just getting smashed left, right and centre but I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Yeah, it is the nature of the beast. I mean, we're not out of the game yet.
No.
But, we're getting in our 40s now. So it's...
So for me, it was that little bit of a pivot around actually, and this again comes back to the sponsorships, back to the brand ambassador, working with companies. Actually, if the shooting's not going to be your sole focus, what else can you do? How else can you make yourself valuable to that company? So yeah, as we mentioned, a lot more kind of working with companies, spending some time with them, doing some promotional bits like we did today, but also kind of in the wider archery community, how else can I give back, for want of a better word? I mean, archery for me has been like really important in my life and opened up so many doors, taken me to so many places I never thought it would have taken me with. We should definitely have a chat about event delivery in a minute and bits I've done events, because that's just that's a completely another kind of aspect of archery that I just didn't see that door opening, and then it did, and went to some weird and wonderful places. But yeah, just stay on this trail of thought. It's like, how can I help give back and what can I help do? So yeah, some involvement with Archery GB for some working groups. I narrowly missed out. There were 2 spaces available. I came third. I narrowly missed out on securing a spot on the World Archery Field and 3D Committee last year at their Congress. So yeah, if I get the chance to kind of get involved and give back and some of the information, some of the hopefully valuable information I've picked up over the past 20, 25, 30 years, if there's a way of paying that forward and kind of giving back a bit, then definitely look at doing that as well.
That's nice. I feel a similar way, because archery has been quite good to me. It's given me a living for the past sort of 10, 14 years, something like that. And it's nice to be able to give something back, even if it's just like workshops or just helping people out, just trying to... My focus nowadays really is just to get bows in people's hands, get people shooting, because it's so good for you, archery. I know so many people who struggle with their mental health and have got into archery, and it's really helped them, giving them something to focus on, like gives them some respite from their thoughts and things. Because when you're out shooting, you're not worried about anything. You're just in the moment. You're living it. You're doing the thing, and it's so beneficial to people. And I think the more people that we can get shooting, the better.
For sure. And that's definitely being echoed as well, kind of internationally, by Greg Easton. So from the Easton family, legendary archery company that's given back so much. He was voted in last year as the president for World Archery. And one of the things he's driving, and I've heard snippets of it, is he's trying to get archery just out there more, into schools more. Apparently he's spoken to schools in America where again, don't quote me on it because I don't know the full research behind it, but it's been introduced into schools where there may be some behavioural difficulties or students that have some additional needs. And actually introducing them to archery, even if it's not going to be like a full-time hobby for them, it's just giving them something to focus and concentrate on. And there's actually been studies that have shown actually behaviour has improved or ability to focus has improved and social engagement. It's got that unique, because you have to concentrate. If you're shooting a bow, you have to concentrate. It's something that does need, it's not something you can have your phone in your hand at the same time and do and stuff like that. So they've actually shown that it's actually got a place and actually in potentially in education, in society, just to kind of help.
The benefits of archery are far-reaching. I think 90% of the people I've ever interviewed over the past sort of few years, and I've always asked about how they got into archery. Most of the time, it's like, I tried it at Scouts or a fair or Centre Parks or something like that. So I think those little places are hugely beneficial for getting people into archery. Because I don't know anybody really who hasn't tried it and thought, that's rubbish. Don't like that. It's fun.
It's true.
It's fun. Hitting stuff with something else is fun, and if you do it well, it's even more fun. So yeah, it's no. I think I don't know. I like people being able to try archery and just having that little bug bite them and just actually this is something I could really get into.
And there's been opportunities, haven't there? And there will be future opportunities as well when we've mentioned events and stuff before. There's always peaks that come through. So things like the London 2012 Olympics was huge, and there was definitely a wave off the back of that. You go through the Lord of the Rings films and the peak off the back of that. The
Hunger Games.
Exactly. The Hunger Games one. So you think,
Avengers. Anytime there's archery in popular culture, there is a spike.
Yeah.
Which is why I sort of I've often sort of consulted on projects for things, and because I want to get the archery right, and it's amazing to be involved in that kind of thing, and being able to kind of actually know what you want to do is do it like this. This is a bit better. But archery in popular culture is lovely, and I'm sure you're the same. When you're watching TV or something, and something comes up and there's archery on TV, you're like, whoa, look, because it's still so niche.
Yeah,
it's everybody knows what it is. Yes. Everybody, if you see archery in something, you know what it is instantly. But it's still such a niche kind of sport.
It is, and it's getting better.
It's huge.
So yeah. Even the coverage of events and stuff is getting better, and this is a nice little seamless segue here. So yeah,
I like what you did there.
As I just said, the first event I helped at internationally as a volunteer, just as a literal signed up volunteer, go and help, was the 2007 World Cup in Dover and stuff. And obviously that had limited coverage. We're talking 19 years ago now. It's scary, isn't it? And stuff like that. So that had some YouTube clips from that and stuff. But again, the kind of buzz around how to advertise the sport and market the sport probably hadn't really happened at that point.
And it's ever evolving as well.
Yeah.
The format's always been tweaked, and the commentary is getting better.
Yeah.
And I can see it. When you look at the format of maybe something like the National Tour Final or something, the way that's shown, it's really entertaining and it's really accessible for people. It makes sense. It's there. There's a competition. Well, obviously there's competition element to it, but it's this one person v this other person, and you can see how they're going. I don't think it'll be long before you'll see some sort of archery just on. Like when Ella did the thing in, was it the Indian Premier League?
Yep.
That, I was fascinated by that. I thought that was brilliant.
But the thing with that as well, and what they hit the nail on the head there as well, is it's kind of twofold, isn't it? If you look at other sports as well that have massively boomed, I mean, you look at some of the sports where, to a point, people would argue our sport could be more interesting than that sport. You look at like the snooker, how snooker had a massive boom.
Yeah.
And obviously darts and other bits as well. I think you've got the two elements of the sports and the tactics and the sport event itself, but then the characters involved in that sport as well, and the personalities involved in that sport as well. And I think coverage of archery events is coming better to try and tell that story. You want to tell that story about that person that's involved in that match, what's happening, what's taking place, and actually putting the focus on the person and kind of letting the viewers have a little bit like behind the scenes with that and understand what's going on. And that's definitely happened over the 20 plus years I've been involved in helping at events and stuff. The London Olympics, as an example, I was really fortunate to be involved in the London Olympics in 2012. And that was the first Olympic Games that after they finished the qualifying, they decided that every single elimination match, so like from 1 against 64 all the way through to the final, would be done on its own.
Yeah.
Previously, up into the Olympics before that, you may have 3-4 matches going on at once. All the quarterfinals might be taking place at the same time. Of course, when you got down to the medal match, there'd be a lot of focus on that. But yeah, at London, we ran every single elimination match on its own, on the finals field, 2 targets, huge stands either side, 5,000 to 6,000 people either side. So every athlete that was there had their 15 minutes of fame, for want of a better word. Even one of the matches, which I remember vividly, I think it was a top-seeded Korean female against the lady in 64th, was from South Africa, I think. And there was no way she was going to beat the Korean. It just wasn't going to happen. It would have taken a small miracle. But she came off that knowing she'd had her 10 minutes out there, every single camera on her country cheering for her, the sole focus being on them. Yeah. And it just makes it a bit more of an event.
Like a spectacle.
You can tell that story a bit better. And it kind of, a nightmare to organise. But
I can imagine. What did you do at the Olympics? What was your role?
It was an interesting one. So
I'm guessing that was with the archery.
Yeah, so
archery GB.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, when it got announced in 2007, I think they announced we were going to hold 2005. They announced we were going to hold the 2012 games. I think. And of course, anyone could sign up to be a games maker. And we wore those lovely purple uniforms and stuff. So any member of the public could volunteer to help out at the Olympics. But obviously, quite quickly, each sport identified, you need that core knowledge about that sport and a core of people that does that. And of course, the London Olympic Games Organising Committee employed a few people permanently or on a contract to run those events. Some really good friends of mine, Chris Marsh and John Knott, were kind of the competition director and manager for the games. And then we were able to volunteer to work specifically within that event, within archery at Lord's Cricket Ground. And we did the test event the year before in 2011, which was amazing. And then the games came around in 2012. And my role fundamentally was to make sure people were in the right place at the right time, to make sure athletes were in the right place at the right time. We had them warming up on one practice field.
Herding cats.
Yeah. We had them on one practice field and they needed to be round by the pavilion, the famous pavilion at Lord's Cricket Ground, 10, 15 minutes before their match, into the area there, and literally on that steps, ready to go out for their match the minute the previous match had finished. And the whole thing's being kind of choreographed, orchestrated by OBS, the Olympic Broadcast Service, because it's all going out worldwide on TV. And it's a cliche, but time is money. So
you forget that we watch it on usually the BBC usually. You think it's this, but it's not. It's global. Yeah.
So and time is money. If one match wasn't ready to go the minute the previous match had finished, someone would be getting shouted at that there's a delay and no action's happening and nothing's taking place. So my role was smaller to start with. It was just making sure people were kind of brought round at the right time. And then a good friend of mine, Andreas Lorenz, who works for Biter, his main role was literally making sure the athletes were absolutely in place. He had the radio and all the communication with the OBS and the TV crew, and was literally being told these people need to go now. And the games were ticking along really, really well. And then we came to our busiest day of the week, the Wednesday of the games, where we had 36 individual matches in one day.
Wow.
Insane. 36 individual matches in the stadium in one day. And unfortunately, Werner Biter, legendary Werner Biter, from obviously, some of his inventions from Biter, people are still using on their kit today. He'd come over to watch the games, but he was a little bit poorly. And Andreas had to take him home at 7 o'clock in the morning on this busiest day ever. And Chris and John, the competition director and manager, were like, well, how do we resolve this situation? And Andreas was like, he's watched me for the last 2 days. He can take over. He'll be fine.
Yeah, called up to the
And John looked at me and was like, are you sure about this? And I was like, yeah. Face says yes. Head's thinking this could be kind of a bit of a chaotic day, but it went absolutely grand. Absolutely grand. We got through all those matches and absolutely fine. And then the rest of the games went absolutely fine. But again, another angle in my kind of archery journey that I probably would never expected. That opened the door from 2012 through to probably routinely through 2016, 2017, and occasionally now to go and work at World Archery events and kind of oversee that process, oversee kind of the finals field, making sure people are in the right place at the right time. It's a role I still do at the national tour finals, which I think you would have seen me at and stuff.
Yeah.
And fundamentally just being organised and made sure people in the right place at the right time. But yeah, it's another part of kind of my archery story that took me to places that I would never probably have gone to before. Yeah, I did that role at World Cups around the world, places from like Shanghai to Colombia to,
So you've
literally places I probably wouldn't necessarily say, I'm going to jump on a plane and go to that place.
Yeah.
I'd find myself flying out on a Wednesday, helping build the finals arena, do all that, help run the finals over the weekend, and then fly back home and back to work on the Monday, Tuesday the following week.
Just back to normal. Like,
yeah,
I was doing this. Like,
yeah. I'm not sure I could handle it now, but yeah, it was definitely like, the recovery time, getting back and stuff was a little bit insane and stuff, but...
And you'd have to just do that on your own time, sort of...
Yeah, so I'd book the annual leave from work, which I'd have, and then, World Archery would cover me being there, essentially. Not a salary or anything like that, but expenses and flights to get me there and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and it's opened some doors and stuff, and it's
incredible. Like, you've done some amazing things then, really. Like you said, open doors that would never normally be open to you.
Yeah, and again, if you strip it right back to the self-confessed archery geek that I mentioned and stuff, like other sports, people routinely go and spend 60, 70 pounds to go and watch a football match at the weekend or a rugby match or anything like that. Whereas actually, I was literally front and centre at these competition events. Like, yes, I enjoy event delivery. I enjoy kind of being involved with that and helping events be successful. But equally, I've got a front row seat to that action. Yeah. Literally,
see gold medals being won. And
literally, like, not sitting in the stand, not miles away. The London 2012 Olympics, I'll show you later another time, but literally the first photo, that Oh Jin Hook, who won the men's Korean's individual gold medal, first photo he had taken after coming off the podium was a selfie with me. Yeah. Because it literally was my role to get them off that podium and get them through to the media area and kind of go from there. So yeah, it's fun, and it's kind of, from the archery geek point of view, to be that close to the action, be able to see stuff, that's absolutely incredible.
I suppose you could beat it, being sort of that into archery and being present for those like historic events, really. Like sort of monumental archery events, and you're sort of just there, walkie-talkie in hand and
clipboard, walkie-talkie,
an Olympic gold medalist in front of you. It's, you can't buy that.
But that's where our sport's really unique as well, isn't it, and stuff. And I've always known this, but it's been kind of reaffirmed to me over the years as well. So at Kings of Archery last year, I did some media work for them and went out and kind of interviewed some of the archers competing and people in the crowd and stuff like that. And our sport has that unique ability that you could enter the national indoors, you could enter a national tour stage, Kings of Archery, you could out Vegas as an entry, and you could be standing next to Ella on the shooting line. You could be standing next to world number one. You could be standing next to someone that's won an Olympic medal, literally next to you, chatting to you, competing alongside you. I mean, you're not going to go down your local tennis competition and find Andy Murray.
No, you're not. You
next to you or on the same kind of court, are you? To have that kind of potential instant access to the elite people in our sport is insane.
It's an intimate sport as well. Like you do kind of see Olympians at competitions and whatnot. And I'm not fazed by it. I'll talk to anyone, but they're lucky to talk to me, actually. But yeah, it's amazing. Like,
it's not you've met that person, that person's met you, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in any other setting, I think it would be completely different. But because everybody, for a lot of it, are on the same sort of page, like everyone's into the same sort of thing. So you've instantly got something to talk about. Like, you're doing the same thing. Some people are doing it at a higher level, and you get to go to some interesting places. But ultimately, we're all just shooting bows and arrows and enjoying it.
Yeah. And our sport's always crying out for volunteers. So, I've given quite obviously a long version of where I've been and what I've done. But even our national events, Archery GB national events, you can sign up to be a workforce member for those events. And within reason for some of them, they do cover travel expenses and accommodation and stuff while you go and it's a hard weekend or a hard event. You've been to the national indoors. Yeah. There's a core group of people there that Archery GB will look after as volunteers, but they are obviously helping run the event and deliver that event. There was one lady I met at the national indoors this year that I hadn't seen for 25 years probably. And she'd previously been involved in archery. She was a county judge in our county and stuff, and kind of drifted away from the sport when her daughter drifted away from the sport. And yeah, it's come back into the sport because I truly believe the sport's always there for you if you need to come back to it or want to come back to it.
I've left the sport loads of times, so always end up coming back.
Yeah.
You can't. I don't think any archer really can stay away for too long because you'll get that itch and think, oh, just pick up my bow again. Just have a little. Oh, crap.
And yeah, she was volunteering at the National Indoors. She was on one of the registration counters and she just loved being back involved with the sport in that community, real team spirit to it. And it's now part of that team that will help build and deliver these events. No,
I think we do a good job with an event. Like they for the most part always run. It's like a duck under the water. Everything looks smooth.
Absolutely.
I've seen people scrabbling around, going absolutely crazy, trying to get something sorted. But on the surface, everything runs for the most part pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Even as much as sort of like the university events, like the Bugs events. Yeah. They're sort of there's always something that can go wrong at university events, but it always runs smoothly. There's always equipment failures and things, but it's brilliant to see that kind of thing.
But that's absolutely booming at the moment as well. I mean,
uni archery?
Yeah, uni archery's always been there. I mean, when I was at university, my university didn't have an archery club. It does now.
Yeah. What uni was that?
University of Kent.
Kent,
yeah. So it's got a huge club now. It didn't have one when I was there at that time. So the university archery thing's always been a thing when it was in its previous, like Busa and Bucks and stuff back in our day.
Yeah, when I was, I used to coach Birmingham Uni ice hockey team. Yeah. And that was pretty
yeah.
That was
but now
I think that's Bugs now as well.
But now it's absolutely thriving. It's huge, absolutely huge. There's clubs everywhere. I think you guys get inundated with university clubs just turning up, decamping.
Yeah, we love it when the unis come in. We've always got on really well with unis because they're potentially the next generation of archery. Yeah. And I was saying to Ollie, because we were talking about uni archery with him, and I used to love going to the Bucks events because you always got a unique perspective because a lot of these archers didn't come through like you and me, the grassroots kind of archery GB or GNAS that it was then. They're coming at it from a slightly different angle from like a society or like a university club type thing. Yeah. And I've got just such a unique perspective on it they're looking at archery with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see. And we always used to have loads of fun with we'd have they'd come in the thing, we'd have challenges and do all sorts of silly games with them and it's nice. I like it when
I think that boom is just how much more accessible our sport's become and the awareness around our sport. Of course, we said there's areas that still kind of need to be improved and stuff like that, but just social media, the availability, the knowledge of our sport is out there. Like, when we probably started, if you wanted any coaching or advice, it'd be probably for someone in person. There weren't YouTube videos. There weren't There
was nothing.
The world was a bigger place, for want of a better word. It's now a smaller place now, isn't it, and stuff. And if we wanted to find out about results from something, you'd either wait for the results to turn up in the post or you'd wait for the quarterly magazine to come out that told you who's done what recently. Yeah. But now it's just out there. And there's so much information out there and kind of publicity for our sport, which is amazing.
Mm.
There are some flaws with it, in my opinion. I think at times there can be some misinformation out there and stuff as well, and especially maybe kind of like with the coaching world or the promotion of products and stuff. I've kind of seen that we're now in the world where people sometimes need to check the information that they're receiving or getting. There's a little bit of misinformation out there.
A lot of stuff is regurgitated.
Yes.
And I spoke about this with somebody else recently about sort of the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's where you gain a little bit of knowledge about something.
Yes.
And then you speak with absolute authority about that knowledge. Absolutely. And it's just regurgitated. If you don't fully... You've seen that clip, I'm sure everyone's seen that clip, where somebody mimes something to somebody and they watch and they turn around and there's someone behind them, they mime it too. It's kind of like Chinese whisper type thing. By the time you get to the end of the line, the action has been so deformed and changed. It's completely unrecognizable from the original action. And that's what I think a lot of misinformation gets put out. Someone puts something out, someone interprets and then regurgitates it, but puts their own spin on it. And before you know it, there's a lot of...
Well, I've had literally that fairly recently, just to show how it kind of happens in our archery world. I was helping someone with their PSE bow, and they just needed a little bit of help with setting something up. And in my head, I was like, it's probably going to be option A or B that fixes this.
Yeah.
But if it's not option A or B, then I've got option C, D, and F. I've got that kind of knowledge bank if I need to go a bit deeper into this to fix it. And it was literally one of the first two things we did, solve the problem absolutely fine. Cool. No worries. And I was back down my club the following week, and someone else was having a similar sort of issue. So the guy I'd helped first time round strode over there nice and boldly and bravely. I know exactly how to fix this. It's either going to be this or this. And it wasn't this or this.
It was C or D. And
at that point, he was absolutely stumped because, and you're right, he'd learned that a little bit, but didn't have that kind of, which is fine. And of course, people want to help and stuff. But I just think, anyone I help nowadays or stuff, I was like, just check your source where you're getting your information from. Try and listen to one person if you can. And equally, people that are out there giving opinions and advice, which of course they're completely entitled to. Yeah. But I've always said to people, like, if you're saying something and you're giving someone a bit of advice, you should be able to fully explain what you mean by that or back it up with like the reasoning for it. Don't just...
I'm saying this because this...
Exactly. You should do this. And the reason I'm saying you should do this or hold the bow like this or do this is because of this, this, this and this. Or you should shoot this particular spine arrow is because of this, this and this. And actually, I'd be really cautious of anyone that couldn't kind of give that explanation behind the information they're given.
Where someone was coaching shouldn't really have been coaching, but they were giving advice to archers. Oh, you want to put it on your back? I was like, can you explain what that means? Yeah, you just got to put it on your back. Yeah, but how? Well, you just put it on your back. Yeah. And it's just, they've heard that from someone that coached them. And it's this just whole, what does it mean? If you don't know what it means, why are you saying it?
And it's all about, like you say, it's just making sure you're giving the right information out there. And of course, people want to help and you want to pay that information forward you've got, but it's doing it in the right way. Yeah. Again, thankfully, the world has moved on. But I remember being at a club years ago and someone walked past this junior and the junior wasn't shooting very well. And the person just walked past and went, that was an absolute terrible shot. And just kept walking. And I was like, no. Now go back to explain, to be constructive. Yeah. Please now go back and actually, it wasn't the greatest shot in the world that junior just made, but you can't just say that and leave it hanging.
Yeah, you got to
go back and kind of give a bit of an explanation and a bit of support and a bit of like.
It's my mate JT, and I walk past him and go, "That's awful."
In which case, he probably knows why it's awful because you've told him before and stuff. But
there's a lot of. You get that with archery. And I see it a lot, especially in the kind of social media kind of thing. A lot of unsolicited advice from quote unquote armchair archers. And I think it always comes from a place of wanting to do good, but it's not always helpful, is it? And it's pretty bad. Like it's more. It happens a lot more now with social media growing and archery being quite big on social media. Now there's some people doing some incredible content and putting a lot of stuff out there. It's that kind of whole sphere of unsolicited advice is, well, coming from a good place is not always helpful.
I just think that's kind of the world we're in now and how we kind of...
I think any hobby.
Like there was a meme that went on the internet a while ago saying, stick future Olympian on your TV, no one checks. You can always claim to be a future Olympian at whatever whatever stage you're at. And you're right, someone can set up a archery YouTube page and call themselves an archery expert, and there's no real kind of validation to that, is there? It's kind of, it's a bit of a wild west with the kind of whole social media and
I understand why people do it though, because you get embroiled in something, you get excited and it's this whole new thing, and you desperately want to share your passion with someone. And sometimes I think people get a little bit carried away and they're sort of speaking with authority when they don't really completely understand things themselves. And that's the classic one that's been going around for years is knock fit. The whole thing is like, you want to hold the bow and tap two fingers, and if the arrow comes off, it's the right. That's old information. That's irrelevant information. Yeah. What you're looking for is an audible snap. Now, I'm telling you this. That you know this, but then the knock to be able to move up and down the string with a snap, and that's how knocks are made to do that now. Where back in the day, sort of like back in our day, in like the early 90s, it was you had to. That's how you tested it. But it's not like that anymore. But people are still regurgitating that information without having the new information, and that's how things kind of perpetuate. But you spend a lot of time sort of you do a bit of social media stuff. I like your stuff. It's always entertaining as well as informative.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and again, that's how our sport's evolved and moved on, isn't it? We didn't grow up with social media. Social media is something that's appeared and it's come out of the box and it's never going to go back in the box. We are where we are now with it, and I think we're at quite an interesting actually point in time with that, because we've, and I suppose it's the same whatever generation you're in.
We're the best generation.
Some sort of tech will always come out at someone's generation, but we've kind of had to decide whether we're going to adapt and run with it, which we have.
Yeah.
There's definitely people, international friends of mine that are a little bit, maybe the next generation up from us, maybe kind of early 50s, mid 50s and stuff like that. And that actually, when they've now working with companies, sponsorship, promotion, and it's no secret, a lot of like agreements with companies now will have a social media element to it. It will be, you will have a profile on this platform, you will be out there, you will be doing stuff.
Any sort of contract, sort of ambassador, protein, factory staff contract, there'll always be like a social media thing.
Yeah. And we've kind of fell in the middle of that, where the younger generations are like, yeah, absolutely, this is what we do, we grew up with, we can just roll with it. Some of the older generations have been like, nah, actually, I'm not going to go down that route. Yeah. Thanks for the sponsorship. We'll call it quits here, and we kind of do that. And we're kind of in that middle where we've kind of rolled with it and kind of took it on board and running with it.
I often think, if I wasn't involved in this industry, if I wasn't doing what I was doing, would I still be using social media? Would I have shunned it and just gone off into the woods somewhere? It's weird, because I the thing that I like doing is sharing my passion with people, and that I do that through sort of Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all those. I'm not into the Snapchat or the TikTok or anything. I can't.
TikTok scares me.
It frightens me.
I have a TikTok platform. It's shared a few Instagram bits across, but I don't get.
Yeah, I had one. I did what everybody did during COVID. I got a TikTok and put a couple of ridiculously cringy videos on there.
Yeah,
but that's it. I don't know anything about it anymore. I don't even know if we can get back on it. But
and there'll be people out there that will laugh at that. There'll be people like, how do we not get it and stuff like that. But we were the MySpace generation.
Yeah,
we were the MSN Messenger generation. We were kind of.
I can still hear the noises, the MSN noises coming through. But I used to love MySpace.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. Yeah. It's like picking your top friends on there, and then picking a song that would play when people visited your profile, and all the weird glittery stuff that would go on. Like, we peaked as a society when MySpace was a thing.
It's true. But you just like, but in a way, it's good for the archery world, as we've said, and stuff like that. Like I said, we mentioned earlier about competitions and stuff like that. There's almost an expectation now. If you go to a national level event, by the time you're in the car driving home, the results will be online.
Yeah.
Able to review, see the results. And there's a fair chance there'll be some photos online already and stuff as well. I know people, professional photographers that work at international archery events, and some of their agreements are within whatever time frame, an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours at the end of the competition for that day, a certain percentage of photos will be up online to be viewed, because people just want that stuff immediately.
Well, when I did the World 3Ds, 2017, by the time I'd finished the course, we went into town, and there was like a little archery kind of event thing going on in town. There was a tent you could go into, and they had photos, actual printed out photos, sort of already there. The one of me was rubbish, so that's why. But it's the turnaround of these things are like, well, back in the day, you'd have to wait weeks for things. We don't know how lucky we got it, really.
It's been a ride, isn't it? It's been a ride, and I'm keen to see where kind of the sport goes over the next 5-10 years, where we end up. Events are just getting bigger and bigger and better and better. Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it all kind of goes. And
I think archery's in a good place, really. Yeah, I think it is. There's some really influential people within the sport now driving it forward. There's people like you that have given up your time to go to these events and make sure these things happen seamlessly, obviously. And brand ambassadors and things. People, it is a different sphere than what it used to be. It was gone are the days where you just had to be a good archer and then you get given stuff. I think those are gone. You need to be able to be.
I wouldn't say they're completely gone. I suppose it depends how good you are. Clearly, if you are out winning absolutely everything all the time, then of course a company's going to work with you for that exposure and stuff like that. But I regularly talk.
That's a small
tiny
percentage
percentage of people.
That's the 1% of archers.
Literally. And I talk to other people who work with other archery companies on a regular basis, and there's some really, really great podcasts out there that kind of cover what we've talked about today and stuff.
Not as good as this podcast.
No,
obviously.
of course not. But I saw one recently which really resonated. It was the brand manager for the outdoor group. So Elite Bows, Ultra Arrows, Scott Release Aids, but that kind of collection of their a really good friend, Darren Christenbury, runs the team for that. And actually, when he was discussing what he's looking for in supporting someone, working with someone, sponsorship, whatever you want to call it, he was like, how well they shoot, it's pretty far down the list. He was like, it's building that community. And actually, if there's someone that like at events will come and help me set the booth up, put the booth away. Actually, when I'm run off my feet and there's a queue of 15 people wanting to talk about our products, they'll come and dive into the booth and answer a few questions, and kind of, it's all about, as we said right at the very beginning, just making yourself valuable to that company, and just kind of thinking, what can I do to help that company, rather than the other way around. I'd almost say that like the minute you get that sponsorship or that like kind of relationship with that company, that's not the pinnacle. That's not the be all and end all. That's kind of where the work starts.
Yeah.
That's kind of where, yes, you've put in a fair bit of work to get to that point. You're now on board with that company, and now you need to kind of deliver and move forward with that and stuff. And all I would say to people is look for the companies you genuinely believe in, products you trust, you work with. And when you said about like getting the free stuff just for shooting well, that has happened and does continue to happen.
Yeah.
But even 25 years ago, I remembered one company called Shorelock. Do you remember Shorelock?
I know Shorelock. The sites. So I've still got one.
Yeah, Gibbs. I think was he Steve Gibbs, the guy who made it originally, the original Shorelocks. I spoke to some people a little bit older than us that competed internationally and used to use those products. And that company would never sponsor you unless you had at least purchased one site already. So he was very much like, yeah, you're great, you're shooting internationally. Go out, buy one of my sites, compete with it, show that you've actually, this is the product you want to be using and what works for you, and then come back and then we'll sit down and kind of...
Yeah, that's an interesting way of doing it. It's a minefield really for manufacturers and stuff, because you're putting your brand in the hands of other people and you know, relying on them to do it. And I mentioned it before that one of my favorite quotes, again, it wouldn't be one of my podcasts without some bizarre ice hockey analogy, but during the Winter Olympics in 1980, the Miracle on Ice team, which is a USA hockey team, they beat the Russians. But on the run up to that, Herb Brooks, who's they brought this coach in to coach this Olympic team, and he says, I'm not looking for the best players, Craig. I'm looking for the right players. Yeah. And that's always something that's stuck with me with everything. Even when I had my own string company and I was looking for brand ambassadors for that, I wasn't looking for people who would just go to competitions and win medals and go off home. I was looking for people that were out there giving something back to archery, like giving up their time to promote archery, to just, it's not like it was a bow. A string to me wasn't a huge expenditure. Yeah, I could give strings and t-shirts out, but I just wanted my brand associated with people out there doing the right things, like being out there, giving stuff back, giving their time, like passing things on to the next generation. Yeah, I think that's something that's important.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the reason as well that's become so prevalent and important as well. We talked about like, yes, of course, if you're winning absolutely everything, but like, it's so easy to say that. By today's standards, that is so difficult to achieve. Yeah. The archery competition world, levels in archery has gone absolutely insane in the last 5-6 years, around that sort of time and stuff like that. If you could pick any company, if you went to a big indoor event, Nîmes, somewhere like that, and you shot a 598 out of 600 for a W18, and you walked up to the PSC booth, the Hoyt booth, whatever it is, and went, I've just shot 598, what can you do for me? They'll probably turn around and say, well, those other 25 people have also shot 598. The level is so insane. The standard has gone absolutely through the roof.
I mean, I remember like shooting a 300 was kind of a huge deal. Yeah. I mean, it's still an amazing achievement, but
it's not uncommon. Yeah. It's not uncommon. And that Vegas shoot, we've been into like the 20s, the 30s for 900s when I've helped run that event and work with that event as well. And so I mean, even if you're insanely good at archery, it's still a coin toss some weekends who's actually going to win that event, because there's probably at each of these events nowadays, there's 10, 15 people that if it's their day, they're probably going to pip it by a point compared to someone else. So it's the shooting stuff's important. And that's obviously difficult for a company as well, because you could back a person or work with a person on the basis they're going to win a lot, but then like just by pure odds that the game's so hard. They're not going to be on that podium every single weekend.
Once you get to a certain level, like everyone deserves to be there. It's just who's got kind of like whose day is it?
Yeah, whose day is it? Whose day is it that's literally gonna step up at that point?
But yeah, so on that note, I think we've probably discussed everything about archery over the past sort of hour or so. But yeah, Chris, thank you so much for coming in. It's always I work with you any day of the week. It's you're a breath of fresh air to kind of work with, especially when we do sort of like the promotional videos that we've been doing today. So thank you for coming in and being on the podcast. It's always good to see you. Is there anything that you would like to promote? You want to promote your social medias or anything
Yeah, I mean, I can be found on probably Instagram is my most active one. That's Chris Horan 1400.
1400.
Yeah. Set up a while ago, can't remember why, but yeah, at Chris Horan 1400 is my Instagram.
I'll put that in the doodad.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And it's always great to come here. Like Merlin as a company, like it's probably one of the longest relationships I've had in archery and stuff.
10 years you've been with us?
Well, we say that. So yeah, in the current phase of like the ambassador team and where we are, I probably came on board with that when it was being managed by Oliver 2017-ish. So maybe 8-9 years as an official ambassador. But I brought my first bow from Merlin in 1999. It was just when the Max 2000 came out.
Yeah.
Incredible bow at the time and stuff like that. So and I still remember vividly going to the original place, the Bull in the Hollow, the original site, going in there on a Saturday morning, meeting Ben.
Smell of bacon.
Oh, went in through the door. Ben's mum was cooking bacon sandwiches in the little kitchen on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So like, the relationship between me and Merlin has been incredible for that kind of period of time. And just to see a company grow and move on and now have all the other stores as well, it's just absolutely incredible to see a family run with the great values, core values for the archery business is like, amazing to be here.
It's been amazing being along for the journey and sort of seeing it grow really from like a hobble collection of sheds to this, and recently just come back from Scotland and the store up there is incredible. But Chris, thanks bud, it's good to see you.
It's been great.
I'm sure see you again. Well, next time we need a
part two
compound video doing, but anyway, thank you for watching and listening, depending on how you're consuming this. Thanks to you, Chris, for coming in. But well, you take care, shoot straight, and see you on the internet. Bye-bye. And then that's it. So
some theme music.
We'll do a bit of like a little